Santa Claus is coming to town, and the Niners were coming to the jungle, where the Bengals took their Super Bowl nemesis to OT. When Santa does arrive, he's sure to bring many gifts in his sack, much like Bruce Smith of the Bills did. Maybe he'll bring a win to this Bill, whose Giants are suddenly not standing so tall. Or maybe Santa has already arrived in Houston, where his sleigh was obviously packed with Oiler touchdowns. 50 years after their 73-0 shellacking, the Skins were still struggling against the Bears. Hey, don't get upset. NFL primetime is dirt. Everybody, I'm Chris Berman. Welcome to week number 14 of ESPN's NFL Primetime. We have assembled the usual cast of characters to tell you what happened. That means Tom Jackson, Pete Axthelm, Robin Roberts, and yes, we will enjoy, won't we? Some teams enjoying themselves down to the final seconds. The late games around the league. Let's check the scores for you now. 21 seconds to go. The Bears have just crossed midfield, trailing the Redskins 10-9. At RFK. The Bears led it 9-0 at the half. They're trying to pull one out as they've done so many times this year. The New Orleans Saints and the Los Angeles Rams. Rams have one play left with the ball, trailing in Anaheim 24-20. And with a lot of time left, just under 10 minutes to go, the Chiefs are having a tough time with the Denver Broncos. They do lead, though, 24-20, but Bobby Humphrey's 2-yard touchdown run for Denver has drawn the Broncos to within 4 points as the games end. We will update you on the scores and, of course, show you the highlights a little bit later on. We're excited about our game here tonight on ESPN. The Miami Dolphins hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Dolphins began the day just a game behind the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. Eagles had been a hot team until the Bills smacked them last week. And Randall, no one's been hotter than Randall Cunningham.
Thank you, Chris. In less than an hour, we will be bringing you a pair of very exciting football teams, the Eagles and the Dolphins from Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. Good evening, everybody. The Eagles are in very good shape in the playoff picture. In fact, to a man, they believe they're going to win their last 4 games and finish 11-5. The Dolphins are 9-3, but they have something to prove tonight. They want to show that they can play with one of the NFL's more physical football.
NFL Primetime is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. By Seiko, the future of time. Available at your authorized Seiko dealer. By Apple Computer in the new, more affordable line of Macintosh computers. And by Braun Electric Shavers. It is through superior design that superior performance can be achieved.
Back on NFL Primetime, we'd like to welcome those of you that have just watched the Redskins beat the Chicago Bears by the count of 10-9. And also welcome those of you that have just watched New Orleans Saints outlast the Los Angeles Rams 24-20. 4 straight years now, the Saints have won in Anaheim against the Rams. Highlights of both of those games a little bit later on in NFL Primetime. Let's begin with the Buffalo Bills at the Indianapolis Colts. And this game had all the makings of a trap. In years past, the Buffalo Bills would see a game like this at the Colts, kind of lay down, not play well, and get smacked. They were 1-5 at the Hoosier Dome the last 6 years. But these Bills are not those Bills, as somebody might say. They're our Bills. Bruce Smith, dominant force. Everybody wants him for our Bills. Moss and Ray Donaldson, double team. That's the only way they keep him away from Jeff George on this play, but you can't always stop him.
You know, and part of his success, he's such a great player that the Bills move him around a little bit. Here he comes through the middle of the line. A good little stop and start there, puts pressure on Jeff George and bats down a pass.
When Jeff George was on the move, he couldn't escape Bruce Smith, who may have better speed. Smith had 4 sacks today, all of them in the first half, Tommy.
And we said you could double team him and stop him. You certainly can't leave him uncovered and expect him to do anything but crush Jeff George.
19 sacks on the season for Bruce Smith. And, oh, yes, the Bills' offense has scored more points than anybody in football. Jim Kelly, Andre Reed, 34-yard touchdown, 7-0 Bills very early. Next possession, same combination. Kelly to Reed for 13 yards. 2 plays later, Kelly over the middle to Reed, breaks the 19, touchdown reception mark held by Elbert Golden Wheels to Benyon. Reed now has 37, 21-0 Buffalo at the half.
One of the great receivers in this league, Chris, and Kelly knows that you get the ball to him on the cross slant, the short slant, and you just let him go with it. This looks like the same play. It is not, but they know that he has the kind of legs that once you complete the ball to him 15, 20 yards, even 70, 80 yards, it's not something that you don't think about.
Jeff George remembers his first NFL start. Week 1, it was against the Buffalo Bills. He was knocked out of the game. This time he showed a better arm, but the problem, John Hagee of the Bills was there to snare it. They picked him off 3 times. They also helped him up, but they also helped him down. Same guy, boom, number 97, Cornelius Bennett. When George got away, he had the deflected pass intercepted by Dr. Sack, of all people, Leon Seals. Obviously his first INT of his career, 3 on the day against Jeff George. And if that wasn't enough for Buffalo, they also have Thermal Thomas, a little warmer inside of the Hoosier Dome. He can catch it. First 63 yards from Kelly, and he can go all the... No, he doesn't. He gets tackled here. But Thomas then runs up the middle, and he does go all the way. 23 yards for a touchdown. 76 yards rushing, 91 yards receiving, a $167 overall for Thurman Thomas. And the Bills just shellacked the Indianapolis Colts 31-7 total offense. They had 408 yards, holding the Colts to only 127 yards. And Tommy, we said before, this the type of game that the Bills would lose in the past, but they're showing something different this year. Killer instinct.
Well, killer instinct, and the thing I like is, you know, you look at the Giants, the Niners, the Chicago Bears, all teams headed for the playoffs. That's the kind of team that the Bills are. They're strong defensively, and the thing that's most impressive is they run the ball, yes, with Thurman Thomas, but they run it with everyone. That offensive line gets the job done blocking.
Tom, I have to throw in a mathematical note. I've been hunched over my computer working out incredibly complex permutations all afternoon. And I think I can say with a degree of reliability, the Colts aren't going to make the playoffs, Tom.
This just there.
Pete, I think your computer was like this, Colts out. They're probably mathematically alive, but way to go out on a limb. One guy that's going out on a limb this year is Bruce Smith, because he is on line, perhaps, to break the NFL record for sacks. Now, they only started keeping record of this in the last decade. Mark Gastineau of the Jets danced 22 times back in 1984. Bruce Smith already, with 3 games to go, has 19. When we come back, the Patriots and Browns, two great squads. Pete's computer here. Welcome back to NFL Primetime. Robin Roberts is with us now, and your own computer said that Chuck Noll was just, what, 1 shy of 200 wins, right?
Yeah, that wasn't too difficult. Carry the one. You really thought at the beginning of the year, the way they were starting off so slow, you weren't sure if he was going to get to number 200. And that tough loss last week to Cincinnati, and after a tough divisional loss like that, it had to be nice for the Steelers to know that they would face the lowly Patriots on the field today, losers of 10 straight, and Chuck Noll trying to make that elite club, trying to do what only 4 other men have done, and that is win 200 games in his coaching career. Pittsburgh's first play from scrimmage. Tim Worley has it. No, he doesn't. Coughs it up. Fred Marion recovers it for New England. Former Steeler great mean Joe Green wants his team to retaliate. John Stevens fumbles it right back. Darrell Williams recovers for Pittsburgh. Second quarter, it's 3-0 Pittsburgh. Tim Worley with a tough 12-yard run down to the 38-yard line. But Worley would give it up again, and once again, Fred Marion recovers for New England. Patriots with a 4th and 1, and Marvin Allen, he is simply hammered by Pittsburgh's Greg Lloyd. Steelers take over. Tim Worley, not known as a pass receiver coming out of the backfield, but he makes his 8th catch of the year. He's going to drag tacklers to the 10-yard line. The former Georgia Dog, he simply does not want to go down. 2 plays later, Merrill Hodge punches it in from 7 yards out, 10-0 Steelers. Third quarter, 10-3 Steelers. Patriots gamble on a 3rd and 1 by going to the air. Tommy Hudson goes to Zeke Mowat, who fumbles it. David Little recovers for Pittsburgh. Rod Russ watches his Patriots just self-destruct. Pittsburgh leading 10-3. Bubby Brister looks for 274-pound rookie Eric Green, who makes the catch in the end zone. Green leads NFL tight ends with 7 touchdowns, TJ.
You know, Robin, one of the things that Pittsburgh's done defensively, they've become a great pursuit team, and they do love to gang tackle. as they do right here on Hartley Dykes.
Fourth quarter at 17-3, Merrill Hodge, a sensational game. He'll tightrope down the sideline for a 41-yard touchdown score, Axe.
As Merrill goes, so go the Steelers. That's why I made him a Colt hero.
Bet you did. 19 carries on the day for Merrill, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns, and yes, Chuck Noll picks up win number 200 as the Steelers win by a final of 24-3. The Patriots have allowed an opposing back to rush for 100 yards for the 7th consecutive game and the 10th time in 13 games. And so Chuck Noll becomes the 5th winningest coach in NFL history, joining Papa Bear, Don Shula, Tom Landry, and Curly Lambeau as the only coaches to have reached the 200-win plateau. Shula could pick up 295 tonight here on ESPN when the Dolphins take on the Eagles. The Oilers looking for their first sweep of Cleveland since 1981. The Oilers Santa Claus in the Astrodome, but it was Cleveland giving out the gifts today. Gift number 1, Bernie Kosar, picked off by former Giant Terry Kennard. And Kennard returns it 40 yards down the sideline before being hauled down by Reggie Langhorne from behind. Gift number 2, Kosar under center, fumbles a snap. The ball is kicked around and recovered by Houston's John Grimsley. Gift number 3, Kosar with the completion to Kevin Mack. Hit by Johnny Meads. It's ruled a fumble. And Kennard again picks it up, heads down the sideline. He's not going to get caught this time, going 72 yards for the score. And it's tough to win when you turn over the ball 4 times and you're penalized 11 times for 76 yards. And Warren Moon wouldn't let that slip by. He would capitalize. Warren Moon going 7 yards for the score to Ernest Givens from where?
Louisville. And at Louisville, they had a course 101 where you had to learn to dance
and shake like that. And it was Moon again. Here he goes, 17 yards to Leonard Harris for the touchdown. Moon 17 of 25, only 190 yards, his lowest output of the year. 2 touchdown passes, still looking for his 9th 300-yard game. There was one bright spot for the Browns today, and of course we'll show it to you on the kickoff. Eric Metcalf took it from a yard deep in the end zone, and watch Metcalf fly. He takes it 101 yards for the touchdown. The only bright spot for Cleveland, but this day simply belonged to Lorenzo White. Here White breaks the line. It goes in 10 yards out for the score, TJ.
Tremendous combination by White of speed and power. Here he makes the nice cut right there on Clay Matthews, regains his balance, goes down to the 1-yard line. That set up his 2nd TD of the day. Then you watch him this time as he gets close to the goal line. He shows you the power as he goes through 3 Browns for his 3rd touchdown of the day.
But he was not finished. Here comes his 4th touchdown, a 5-yard scamper. He almost celebrates a little too early, but he does score. White 18 carries, 116 yards, 14 touchdowns. The Oilers roll a franchise-high 58 points, 58-14 the final. They had 45 at the half, the 3rd most in NFL history. The Oilers now 7-6 and have moved into the first-place tie with Pittsburgh and Cincinnati in the AFC Central, becoming very interesting in that division.
Yeah, that's going to be back and forth
yes,
and back and forth right down to the wire, as they say. Our congratulations to Chuck Noll, of course. And you mentioned it, Robin, that the Houston Oilers, by scoring those 45 points, only 2 teams have ever scored more in the first half in NFL history. The 83 Packers had 49 against the Bucs. The 66 Buffalo Bills had 48 against the Dolphins. But the Oilers' outburst today is as good as it gets. When we return, we're coming up on the Niners and Bengals in OT, plus the Giants on the Vikings. Let's update you now on the one game still going on in the National Football League at Arrowhead. The Kansas City Chiefs now, that's the final now. They've beaten the Denver Broncos 31-20, so we'd like to welcome all those viewers that have watched the Chiefs since the Raiders play on Monday night move into first place by their lonesome in the AFC West. The Minnesota Vikings, a very hot ball club, had won 5 in a row. The New York Giants all of a sudden had lost 2 in a row. Oh, how things had turned in the NFC, not to the liking of Bill Parcells and the G-Men. Let's pick it up in the shadow of Jimmy Hoffa at the Meadowlands. Bill Parcells on the sideline, playing hurt. More on that later. He was hurt even more when Phil Simms was wrapped up for a safety gently by Chris Dolman. A Ken Herbeck 2-run homer, and Minnesota leads it 2-0.
Jumbo Elliott, freshly off IR here, just can't control the inside power of Chris Dolman as he gets to Phil Simms.
Then things look bleaker when, for the Giants, on 4th and inches at the 24, they give it to Otis Anderson. He's nailed by the Viking defense, and the Giants come up short. Floyd Peters' defense did a great job. Bill Parcells says, could it be 3 in a row?
Herschel Walker ran extremely hard today. Here he nails Greg Jackson.
It's contagious. The Vikings lead at 5-3 after a Kirby Puckett 3-run home run. And Rich Gannon throws it to Steve Jordan from
Brown University.
And Jordan is finally brought down to the 1-yard line, setting up Allen Anderson's touchdown. It's 12-3 Minnesota. Giants finally did get it together on the kickoff by Fuad Rebays, number 30. Look at that maggot rock. Dave Maggot does the job. It's a 59-yard return into Viking territory, and he gets the G-Men fans on their feet. Another youngster made a big contribution for the Giants, the number 1 draft pick, Big Rodney Hampton. He didn't play much Monday night, but showed the quick feet, and he ran for 78 yards on 19 carries. Minnesota seemed, though, to be in charge as the second half begun. On 2nd and 7 from the 9, though, the game turned. Gannon hits Steve Jordan. This time he's peppered by Pepper Johnson. Myron Guyton scoops up the fumble, and the Giants dodge a bullet. First play of the fourth quarter, Jerry Burns' the squad leading 15-10. 2nd and 6 for Gannon. Play action. Picked off by number 47, Greg Jackson. Runs across the field. Out of bounds at the 32, sets up a Matt Barr field goal, 15-13. Minnesota, and enter one Lawrence Taylor.
LT, an outstanding day today here. Gannon gets outside the pocket, but he can't avoid LT on the outside, and then you're going to see few linebackers do this. The little short screen to Herschel Walker, LT right down the line of scrimmage. He's not the easiest guy in the world to bring down.
Fourth quarter, the Giants offense, which struggled all day, finally woke up. 2nd and 11, Sims to a leaping Stephen Baker for 14 yards and a first down. On 1st and goal from the 2, O.J. Anderson, 2nd touchdown of the day. The Giants lead 20-15, just under 7 minutes to go. O.J. over the 10,000-yard barrier, although he averaged just over 1.5 yards a carry today. Late in the 4th from the 20, Gannon, pressured by LT. Guess gets rid of it, and then picked off by Gary. Reasons to believe. The veteran linebacker saves the day for the Giants. They tack on a field goal, and it's headbutt 2. The Giants, after 2 straight losses to the Eagles and then the Niners, come back to beat the Vikings 23-15. After the game, Bill Parcells spoke about Lawrence Taylor.
Hey, nothing that guy does surprises me. You know, it's just, he's a great, great player. Best defensive player over the last 10 years. And it's not close for second.
LT came in at halftime and he told everybody that's just not the way the New York Giants defense plays. We don't play back on our heels. We play attacking and aggressive style. And he said he's going to go out there and do it the way it's supposed to. And anybody who wants to join along can come with him. So he kind of carried the defense with us.
So Lawrence Taylor carried the defense. O.J. Anderson is now carried into the 10,000-yard club, becoming only the 8th man to do it. And folks, this is a pretty impressive list to be on. Has a couple of O.J.'s on it at 7 and 8. So our congratulations to O.J. Anderson, and of course Eric Dickerson's still active, but that's a good list to be on, and Anderson is now the newest member. Bill Parcells had an attack of kidney stones last night during a coaches meeting, checked himself into a hospital last night, came back to the park this morning on a leave, but says he'll go back into the hospital in New Jersey for a night or 2. He says, I asked my players to play hurt. He asked himself to play hurt. He did so. His players got him a win. And, Tommy, we saw it. Lawrence Taylor played like the man that maybe not at the top of his game in the early 80s, but I think he's okay.
You know, Bill Parcells always makes the point that every time a great young linebacker comes around, they say the next LT. And after the criticism that he's gotten this season, it was great to see him have a multiple sack day, 2.5 sacks, 12 tackles, and maybe the biggest play he made, pressuring Gannon into the interception by Reasons. Just a play that I think put the game away for him.
Well, the Giants have gotten a lot of publicity this year, but one team that has not has been the Seattle Seahawks. This just in. Chuck Knox is doing a heck of a coaching job. Why are we not surprised? You know, it's the only team, the Seahawks, that did not get a September win, but yet here they are talking playoffs as they met the Packers in Milwaukee. And they met the Packers without the Magic Man, Don Majkowski. They had the Wizard, Anthony Dilweg. But Dilweg was hardly like Merlin. Incomplete to Jeff Query. What? And then a bomb to Query. Nowhere. He was 6 of 22, and his first completion was to Seattle's Dwayne Harper, who runs it back inside the 15. Question on the day at County Stadium, what is wrong with the Packers?
Communication problem. Communication problem.
That was not the case for Dave Craig and the Seahawks. After the interception, Craig. Tough catch by Jeff Chadwick for a touchdown, 7-0 Seahawks. Derek Fenner blasted in for 14 yards. Fenner had 112 yards on the day. The Seahawks led it 17-0. 112 yards on 20 carries for Fenner. In fact, Fenner outran the entire Packer offense. Packers ran for 13 yards. There's one of them from Michael Haddix. There's not even one of them from Keith Woodside. There's none of them by Keith Woodside. No yards rushing in the first half, as we mentioned, just 13 in the game. And Dillway continued to be at 0, incomplete. Look to Herman Fontenot. So the Wizard didn't work. The Magic Man's on the sidelines. What's wrong with Anthony today? It was a communications problem, and so enter the sorcerer, Blair Keel, who hadn't thrown a pass in 3 years in the NFL, but he hits Perry Kemp on a touchdown. Yes, it was a touchdown, 20-7, onside kick. The Packers recover. Keel with more magic. Finds Ed Go West, young man. 20-14 Seattle, the pooch kick. Nesby Glasgow fumbles it. And the Packers are in a position to win the game, down only 20-14. But on fourth down, the sorcerer can't deliver to Jeff Query. Lenny and Fonzie said, my goodness, we came from behind. But Seattle, this was a luxury for them because, you see, they won it with a minute to go. Their last 3 wins have come on the last play of the game. The Seahawks are 7-6 as they beat the Packers up in Milwaukee 20-14. Getting back to the Vikings. And once again, they lost outside. They've won only one of their last 13 games outdoors. Look at these 3 dome teams, the Vikings, the Lions, and the Patriots. Indoors, they're fine. But outdoors, a big